Hello, I'm Kristin Mortenson, Community Preparedness and Fire Prevention Specialist with the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation's Southwestern Land Office based out of Missoula, Montana. I'm also an active partner in the Fire in the Root Council that is active throughout Ravalli County. Today I'm going to be delving into part 2 of my Wildfire Preparedness Site Visit series that discusses the next steps to the home assessment process and how do we inspire action. A quick review of what is a wildfire preparedness site visit or wildfire risk home assessment, as you've heard me refer to before. Well, these home assessments are an evaluation of home and property risk from wildfire by fire professionals who also provide recommendations on how to reduce that risk. The professionals assess vulnerabilities to fire from embers or firebrands, which cause most of the home loss due to fire, but also radiant or convective heat, as well as direct flame. The data is entered into an online data analysis program called SAM, or Situation Analyst Montana, and the risk rating information can be viewed by the public. And there's also safety notes that the fire professionals enter that are very valuable for first responders. This process is a free service. Homeowners and property owners can visit the DNRC website shown on your screen and request one. Any homeowner can also stop into a local fire station, fire district, or department to request one there as well. Home assessments are important because fire is inevitable, but losing homes to it is not. Approximately 80% of homes lost to wildland fire could actually have been saved if homeowners had followed just a few simple fire-safe practices. Home assessments are also a critical opportunity to engage, educate, and motivate homeowners. Help them understand risk and their risk better, and also the ways that they can reduce that risk. It's also a good opportunity to build trust between fire professionals and homeowners and provide that local information for the fire professionals so that they better get to know their community. And it helps them as well to recognize barriers that may exist to homeowners actually completing mitigation action, because if that action is not done, there is no reduction in risk. So action is critical. It's a critical end goal to all of this process. Home assessments truly are this first step in addressing a community's wildfire risk. The goal of communities should be to be fire adapted, right? We want to create fire adapted communities that have learned to live with fire and can coexist with fire. They've reduced their vulnerability so that when fire comes through, they are left viable and standing once fire leaves. Learning to live with fire and doing mitigation action at the community level necessitates beginning one home at a time, and that's our home assessment. There's also the critical component that home assessments include an analysis of a home's property, which includes the 100 to 200 feet of their home ignition zone that sometimes does not stop at the property owner's fence line. It can include property that belong to neighbors, and those neighbors might be private landowners. They also could be state or federal or county property owners. So a lot of times these home assessments identify the need for maybe reducing hazardous fuels across boundaries, and thus the importance of the shared responsibility of wildfire risk reduction and how it is and necessarily has to be a community effort. There is a personal responsibility that is imperative and is relayed in a home assessment, but there is a shared responsibility that often a home assessment highlights as well. It's a community effort. and shared responsibility many times. Home assessments are important in providing us that data, right? That information on risk, but also that engagement that hopefully will lead to mitigation action. That is the desired end goal. Without action, there is no reduction in risk. Since 2016, we have completed 40 home assessments in Ravalli County. But as of 2018, Ravalli County had more than 16,000 homes located in areas of moderate to high wildfire hazard. And we know that growth has only increased in recent years. Our 40 home assessments are a lot of work, and that is a great job, but it's not enough. It doesn't nearly approach the minimum of 16,000 that we need to address. So how do we do this? How do we address this huge problem? Engagement is critical. Action is how it's addressed. We've got to engage. Active communication or face-to-face engagement and two-way communication is one of the most effective ways to lead to action. Now, passive communication is important, and this is secondhand information like brochures, articles, or websites, because these can help point people in the right direction. But in and of itself, it doesn't usually produce action. Combined with active communication, it can lead to informed action. But action also needs to be purposeful and efficient. Wildfire risk reduction requires changes in behavior. It necessitates that action and somebody to do something differently than they've done before, usually. So research into mitigation successes found that focusing on early adopters with influence, individuals that embrace change and action, and that other people listen to, is a great way to lead to action, and also focusing on people with authority to act. If somebody is willing and engaged, but they don't have the authority to make the changes on the land, they're not the one you need to be talking to. So it is not the general public that we need to be addressing with home assessments and our active engagement, right? It's those 16,000 homes that are built in moderate to high fire danger. It's those individuals that have the authority to act and that need to act. We also have to understand that there's a lot of obstacles to action that we need to work to address. There's lack of motivation, right? People can be unaware. They may have no clue that they are at risk. They may know, but deny it. They may not want to face that they are at risk. They may feel it's futile. Yeah, Mother Nature is going to clean up the floor and burn my house with it no matter what I do, so who cares? Irresponsibility, I don't care. Insurance will cover it anyways. Aesthetics, discomfort. Maybe they're an absentee landowner and they're not physically present to see the condition of the home and property. Foreclosure, maybe it's undesirable to them to do any changes. There's means, lack of money, lack of time, lack of knowledge. They may be willing, but they just don't know what to do. Logistics, how do I address this problem? I've got 40 acres that need thinned and I don't know where to start. Physical limitations. I physically can't do it. There's also that maintenance and upkeep. It's not a one and done thing. You need to upkeep this, and that can be a barrier. There's also opportunity barriers. I know specifically of HOAs that have covenants against having a metal roof, which is a very fire resistant roof. Sometimes you know what you need to do, but your hands are bound by rules. The key is knowing your community and knowing these barriers so that you can develop actions that address those barriers and get around them so that mitigation can occur and you can help those homeowners to find a path so that mitigation can be done. There are lots of solutions, often at a larger level. Okay, I've had issues with this, so hang on just a minute and let me see if I can play this video.
Destructive wildfires have increased dramatically in recent years, but fire is a natural part of the landscape. So what can we do to help communities adapt? Living with wildfire is about making changes before a wildfire happens. It's about creating safe and resilient communities where fire plays its natural role without destroying lives and property. And it's about supporting effective wildfire response. How can we get there? As a nation, we spend a lot of time and money suppressing wildfires to protect homes and communities. The practice of putting out nearly all wildfires keeps us on a long and challenging road. Large fires put firefighters at risk, burn homes, degrade water quality, and cost billions of dollars. There are many efforts underway to build a better path to help communities adapt to wildfire, but threatening fires make us scramble and spend a lot of money reacting, then rebuilding after an event, instead of proactively addressing the problem. What can we do to break this cycle? The Wiry team is helping communities build a path to fire adaptation, paved with strong researcher-practitioner partnerships, applied social science, and wise investments. Our diverse team gathers local information about communities, the residents who live there, fire risk to their properties, and what they think about wildfire. Wiry uses this information to create plans for fire adaptation based on the unique characteristics and strengths of communities. The work is in-depth and the community is front and center. The partners involved understand and are invested in the community, and the positive changes are effective and long-lasting. We know this approach is effective and can be replicated in fire-prone communities around the nation because we've seen success firsthand. A fire chief we worked with said,
"Based on our partnership with the Wiry team, we've learned a ton. The perception of the public and access to information was different from what we originally thought. With the addition of a social science component, we recognized a need for change in how we communicate, educate, and participate.
Together, we're connected to an enormous network and are sharing what we're learning along the way. We can't do this alone. Partnerships and community interactions are key to the success of this approach. To find out how Wiry can help your community, please contact us at www.wildfireresearchcenter.org.
Okay, hang on just a minute. It's wanting to mess up again. Hold on. We are going to go to our second Wiry. So this is the Wiry website where these videos are located.
Sarah is the director of the Regional Wildfire Council. Part of her job is to help residents and communities like Pinetown be more prepared for wildfire. Sarah has some tools and programs she has used in the past, but is wondering if she could be more innovative and effective. Sarah heard about the wildfire research team's unique approach to collect wildfire risk data for individual properties, as well as the values and attitudes of the residents who live there. Sarah wants to try this process in Pinetown, so she gives the wildfire research team a call. The wiry team describes their process, which will give Sarah more detailed information about the residents of Pinetown than she has ever had before. Sarah realizes this will help her pick the right tools to help residents reduce wildfire risk. First, Sarah mails a letter to all the residents in Pinetown to tell them about the wildfire risk assessment and how this effort will help the community. Then, Sarah and the fire chief drive around Pinetown and do a rapid wildfire risk assessment for each home. This will show them what mitigation steps residents have already taken and what hazards remain. The assessment tool is just a quick look. Each one only takes about a minute. Next, Sarah mails residents a survey to ask about their property and their opinions. The more community members who fill out the survey, the better Sarah will understand what they need. Then, Sarah and the wiry team look at the results together. Based on her new understandings of Pinetown, Sarah realizes that she needs to tailor her efforts to meet residents' needs. She modifies her outreach methods and develops new tools based on the unique characteristics of the community. A year later, Sarah is better able to help Pinetown adapt to wildfire. She knows what kinds of help the residents need. Sarah can hardly believe all the mitigation she's seen around the community. She knows there's always more that can be done, but her work with the wiry team helps her do her job better. To find out more about the wiry process, visit www.wildfireresearchcenter.org.
So wiry provides a great solution to gathering that local community information to better understand the barriers and the perspectives that may exist there. It also opens the door to communication, not necessarily through assessments because it does a rapid assessment process, but the mailings, the constant mailings and the survey, and then often there are public meetings and conversations that are started because of this. Those one-on-one conversations open that two-way communication path. And so wiry is a very successful and a potential project for addressing the risk around us. There's other solutions. There's many areas have used the Neighborhood Ambassador Program. This is where fire professionals identify key spark plugs, very active, energetic individuals in neighborhoods that deeply care about wildfire risk and work to invigorate their neighbors. They inspire action within the neighborhood, getting mitigation projects going with the help of the local fire professionals, and maybe even help the neighborhood work towards FireWise certification. There's specific targeted outreach, scheduling targeted assessments in certain neighborhoods or drainages or areas, and outreaching to that specific area. Of course, those areas need to be high priority. They should be based on the local community wildfire protection plan priority area that says that those are moderate to high risk areas. You can sponsor neighborhood preparedness barbecues and chipper days, try to make some mitigation noise to get individuals interested. Of course, the key is these are targeted. They're not just happening randomly. They are in specific places of moderate to high risk. Send mailers about preparedness and home assessment process and how to go about requesting those free services to high risk residences. targeting those areas and sending and trying to open that door to communication with specific homeowners. Enhancing our volunteer fire department's preparedness and prevention capacity. In Ravalli County, there's 13 fire districts and they're all volunteer. These people have day jobs and life that often makes it very difficult to have a lot of extra time to perform their volunteer fire department job. And so we're asking them to do preparedness and prevention on top of that is a big ask. So helping them to have the capacity to address it is important. There's a lot of other solutions. I think the key is making it targeted to those areas of highest need, and also understanding your community is critical. You can have the best chipper program ever, but if you're not getting the word out in the way that your community understands or sees the need in, nobody's going to show up. The National Cohesive Wildland Fire Management Strategy, which is a policy that all federal agencies, fire management agencies, as well as state management agencies follow, claims that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to reducing wildfire risk. Solutions must be tailored to landscapes and communities. Community context matters. We need to know our communities. We need to know our homeowners and how they will understand best the need to reduce wildfire risk in order for mitigation action or risk reduction to occur. Home assessments are a first step in doing this, but we need to do more. And so those other solutions like WIRE, like Neighborhood Ambassador Program, targeted outreach, those are our next steps. That's where we need to go. Thank you, I appreciate it. Please feel free, if you have any questions or comments, to email me at the email address shown on the screen. I'm happy to talk with you and hear your concerns or comments or ideas. Thank you.